Greetings, everyone. Welcome to today's program. With me today, I have Biruktawit. Thank you so much, Biruktawit, for coming and doing this interview. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people already know you from your page, your social media page, called Productive Habesha. And for those of you who might not know her, this is an amazing opportunity for you to get to know her because this interview is dedicated to get to know Biruktawit. Who is Biruktawit? What does her day look like? Where did she grow up? It's going to be all about her. So I am very excited. I know that a lot of people may know you from the social media page and based on what you post, but hopefully this will give them a more in detail story about you. So I'm excited. Stay with us until the end. So to start us off with, Brook, can you just tell us a little bit about you, where you are right now, and tell us a little bit about you.
hmm yeah, my name is Brook, as you were introduced. Sometimes I go by Brekti. That's the shorter version. Um, I'm currently based in Houston, Texas, but I
Yeah.
was born in Ethiopia, specifically Hawassa, the southern part of Ethiopia. And well, it's not because this is a spiritual content or media, but it's just something I always love to talk about. When I describe myself or when people ask me, what do you love to do? I love talking about God. I usually just lose time when I talk about Him or when other people talk to me about Him. I love reading the Bible. Um, that's that's pretty much about me. I think I'm just a curious person. I mean, if you talk about my credentials, when I was in college, I studied economics and business. So I graduated with that degree. And I'm currently active on helping the diaspora community and our people back home through my social media. And I share my whatever I feel like is resourceful because I just enjoy sharing my knowledge and helping people be informed, whether it's about scholarship, whether it's just about the youth in general, and anything that I thought would be resourceful to them. That's how I use my social media platforms.
Okay, that's amazing. Thank you for that short intro. If we can like go back from like yeah, when you were born, where were you born? You mentioned that, but tell us a little bit more about your childhood as well. Where you were born, how the environment was, who you were raised with.
Yeah, so like I said, I was born in Hawassa, Ethiopia, and I grew up there with my extended family as well as my parents. My dad was in the States, so I was with my mom and my sister. But then I also grew up with my grandparents at my grandparents' house too. So I had a lot of cousins who I considered were my brothers and sisters. So people used to laugh at me when I said I have like nine brothers and nine sisters. It's because I consider them as my brothers and sisters, but I only have one sister, one younger sister. I'm the firstborn. And then after my dad came back from the States, we went to Addis Ababa. So we lived there for a year and we then just moved to Tanzania. So that was the very first time I left Ethiopia. That was when I was, I think, 14, 15 years old. So yeah, I came to Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and I lived there for 7 years, I would say, until my very first year of university. It was COVID here. I also went, even though I was accepted to a US university, I didn't go. I mean, I didn't want to go, I guess, because it was COVID. For a while, it was restriction, but then later on, like it got scarier with the numbers and everything. So I just decided to stay there and attend my first year of university online. And once COVID kind of, I guess like I think it was in my second year that I came here, just things were getting slower and getting better. So then I decided to just attend my second year in the US in person. So I came to the States then. And after attending my very first university for a year, I just decided that it wasn't for me. Like the place wasn't for me. because it was way far away from the church. I didn't realize that church was important for me at the time. Like I said, I grew up not really caring much about my religion or the church, even though I go to church pretty much often, or it was mostly forced. Like my parents were forcing me to go there. Like I wasn't intentionally going there, and I wasn't intentional about the services, or even like who gave the service, right? Like the kahanat and everything, the priest. Like I didn't know them. I didn't even know their names. Like it was really funny. So pretty much I was blindsided, I guess. It was just because I was very much childish then. But then when I left Ethiopia, that was it, when it kind of hit me. And it was in ninth grade, I started to take my spiritual life a little bit more seriously. Can you still hear me? Let me just take this off.
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, it was in ninth grade that I started taking seriously, because I started having more questions, like why is this happening? Why is that happening? Especially like, why is this happening to me kind of questions, That was when I also I was not doing well in my classes, not because I didn't want to do well on my classes. It was just not working out. Like in Ethiopia, even though I wasn't like the very top students, I was always like either the third. I used to just come as the third or fourth or fifth. So I was pretty much comfortable with that. I was not that competitive. I was okay with the like results I was getting. But when I came to Tanzania, the game kind of changed. In seventh and eighth grade was fine because I studied there too. It was sort of manageable, but when I got to high school, my study methods no longer worked. My carelessness didn't have place, and it was just like I had to change a lot of things. So that was when I had, I guess, a spiritual awakening.
Was it because of the
Yeah.
system in Tanzania, or what was the cause of that?
I would say it was also the system, and but mostly, if you really want me to be honest, it was a spiritual warfare. As a family, we were also just going through that. And personally, I felt the attack. Now when I think about it, when I go back and just kind of ponder, I think it was for good. It was God's way of strengthening us, or especially strengthening me at an early age, because that's when I had my consciousness. And that's why I had, like I said, starting being intentional. So I learned, I scroll through YouTube, and my mom would also be sharing resources whenever she finds this Sibket or spiritual teaching. She just, send me through WhatsApp, and I'll just listen. And that was very much helpful. So I would listen to a lot of like preachers and other people that just also teach on spiritual warfare. And that was when I started taking the church seriously in my spiritual life. I think I pretty much covered everything, right?
Yeah. Did you go with who did you go to Tanzania with? Was it like your whole family, or?
Oh yeah, my family. Yes, my dad got a job, so we went there as a family.
Okay. And did something like an event happen that made you, start thinking about your spiritual life more seriously, or was the reason like you lacking in school and you're like asking yourself questions? What exactly happened?
Yeah, it was this one in particular. Like, it didn't make sense to me as to why my grades weren't as they were before, or like satisfactory, I guess. Like they were good back then, and even in eighth grade, because I studied in Tanzania seventh and eighth, and now I was going into ninth, right?
Yeah.
And so it didn't make sense to me why I was not performing well, even though I was trying my best. Like I would sacrifice my lunch breaks. I would go to office hours, and I would do my best. I would study and everything. But when I don't know if I think I heard someone else called Britannia also sharing the same thing on social media. I would go to the exam room. I would have my exam. I would look at the questions, and I'll have this like anxiety attack where all the knowledge I had studied, or I mean, all the content I studied, all the knowledge I had would suddenly disappear. And I would be there like panicking and everything, and you'd have like a rush of ideas. Like, because I was also the firstborn, I thought I was gonna be a disappointment to my parents, and also not I guess a bad example for my younger sister, because usually if the firstborn does something good, most likely the second one will follow up, right? Or vice versa.
Yeah.
So then the anxiety just, builds up then. So I would question that. Why is this happening? Because unlike my friends, they would not study much, but they'd still get the grades. Like, even do much, much better than I do. So I'm just questioning here, like, why is this not working? And I'll talk to my teachers as well, like my study methods and everything. And when I tell them, they're like, yeah, you're on track. There's nothing wrong you're doing. But then it's not really reflecting on my results. So that's what made me think, oh, this might be a spiritual warfare. This might be a spiritual attack. So I need to take my spiritual life very seriously. So with those questions, those questions led to me learning how to pray. Back then, all I know was Abbataችን ሆይ. So now I started learning more prayers, like Wudaሴ ማርያም and other like Psalms, Arganun, and you name it. And reading the Bible too, like that used to calm my anxiety. That used to just help me stay grounded, especially the Psalms, Arganun, and the Bible. So yeah, it was that.
Yeah, and a lot of people, when they are faced with different challenges, they gear towards different ways to deal with it. And the way that you deal with it was to get to know God even more, to strengthen your spiritual life, which is amazing. And going back though, I think the way that we were raised really determines how we respond to different challenges that we are faced. So, what do you think helped you? When you were raised with a lot of people around you, you weren't by yourself. And what helped you? What do you think? Like, for example, if a parent is watching this, what is that one thing or a couple things that helped you shaped who you are?
Mm-hmm. I think, first of all, the greatest credit should be given to the Lord Himself, because He was guiding the people around me, even without them necessarily like knowing what they're doing, I guess. But then of course, my parents are great parents. They taught me to be kind. They taught me to be serious about my spiritual life and just serious about my life in general, not to go off track, or not to be peer pressured. That was kind of like, I used to get a lecture on that every day before I go to school. Like, my mom would take us to the bus stop, right? She'd ride us to that bus stop, and as we wait for the bus, to come, we'll just have those small lectures. Or as we eat as a family, my dad would give us the lecture and whatnot. So it was not intentional, but it was as if like God was speaking through them, if that makes sense. It wasn't like, yo, don't do this, don't do that. It was mostly like, hey, remember, like, I don't remember the way they talk about it, but like I just feel like it came out unintentionally, but I felt it like God was speaking through them. And so I grew up being very cautious, because even as they speak, they would like bring up other people they've heard of, like other stories, especially the ones that went wrong. And so like it was always, what can we learn from them? Like, we feel bad that this happened to certain people, but like, what can we learn from them? And when we talk about people, they always focus on the lessons we can take away from that, not on the wrongdoings. So that kind of shaped my mind to focus on, whenever I hear stories, to focus on what I can learn and what I can take away from that. And when I grew up with my grandparents, like you mentioned, I grew up with my cousins as well. But my grandparents were pretty much well known in Hawassa, so a lot of people would come to our house. Our family was very much welcoming. So I learned just like, how do I say, like, I learned how to take care of other people, how to give people space and the care they deserve, and just in general, like, how to be kind towards anyone, really, not because we're in the same religion or same ethnicity or whatever, but just be welcoming to any humankind and approach people with pure heart and pure intention. So definitely the way I grew up has absolutely shaped me.
Yeah, yeah, beautifully explained. And moving on to, after Tanzania, what age did you said during COVID, or you wanted to avoid COVID before coming here to college? So tell me exactly what year you came to the United States.
I think I came in 2022, if I'm not wrong. 2022. Or no, actually end of 2021. So it was on August, I remember. It was August 2021. Yeah, 2021. Before
Yeah,
2020.
it wasn't that long ago, right?
Yeah, it
So
wasn't that long ago, right? Yeah.
which surprised me because I always thought you came here at maybe 10, or something.
No, you just came here for college.
Okay. And like how was your life like in Tanzania? Like specifically when it comes to getting used to the new environment, new culture, new people.
Mhm.
How is that like?
This is gonna be funny. Tanzania was very much welcoming. I mean, I'm not sure about the current situation, but when we went there, it was a very much peaceful country. Everybody was welcoming, like to the point where it doesn't matter whether you're, black, white, or Hispanic, or whatever. If they see you on the road walking somewhere, they will greet you. I think this used to be Ethiopian culture too. I heard it was written somewhere on Fikr or somewhere there.
Okay.
But they were very much welcoming. So they would say if you're young and if the person speaking to you is older than you, they would say Mambo, Mambo.
Yeah.
So that's just say like salam or hi. So they used to greet me, and I used to just warm my heart and just like kind of opens the door. I mean, kind of like invites me to connect more to them. And so everyone they see on the road, they would greet. So I used to do the same. I used to reflect the same thing, and that kind of created a positive atmosphere for me, or a positive reflection of the country and the people. And also the Ethiopian community was great. So in terms of all that, I had a very positive experience. However, the only problem was that we didn't have a church and we didn't have a larger community. So it was a very tiny community. So because it was also like the Christian community was even less compared to the general community. So we didn't have a church we go to, but because everybody was, striving to to be a better Christian, I guess. They everybody invested their time, their efforts to connect. So we used to go to the Greek Orthodox. They would help us. I mean, they would like give us the space for free after they do their own services. Would use that space to like talk. I mean, read the Bible and just kind of reflect on that. And thankfully, I'm not sure if anyone knows him from the Mahibere Kidusan, but he's part of the Mahibere Kidusan. Dr. Diagonowai.
Okay.
He came to Tanzania. He was in the States, so he transferred there for work. So him being a deacon, he changed the trajectory of how we led our Christian life there, or the Christian community. Um, and so he would also just like help us read more. He'll help us read the Bible even more, guide us because we didn't have any guidance there. And also later on, I think after a year or two, he was able to invite some priests from like Uganda or Kenya, if I'm not mistaken, and would do liturgy there. But before he came, we used to just do liturgy through like a recorded liturgy. Like we would have from Ethiopia, like YouTube or something that
Mhm.
was streaming on YouTube. Even if after the Gaddafi was over, we still like open that and just participate. So yeah, that was how life was in Tanzania.
Wow, that's so interesting. And I've been there, so I agree that the people are very welcoming.
Mhm.
It was a great experience, yeah. And you feel so comfortable there. Like, some places you
Oh
go and like
yeah,
fearful, but like there you're just yourself so comfortable.
oh yeah, exactly. Oh, so you've been to Dar es Salaam, or which part of Tanzania?
No, actually I just went for a vacation in Zanzibar.
Oh, I see, I see. Oh, okay, okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very much welcoming.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and okay, so when you came to the United States for college, what college did you go to?
I went to Hollins University. It was an all-women's college in Roanoke, Virginia.
Okay, and I know you moved a couple states after that, right? So,
Yeah.
so you graduated. Did you study 4 years here?
Yeah. So first year through online, right? Or through Zoom. And then the second year again in Holland. So it was the very same university. And then after that, I transferred to PLU. I mean, Central Washington first, Central Washington in Allensburg, Washington. And then I went back to Seattle. And then I found PLU, Pacific Lutheran University in Tacoma, Washington. So I transferred there and I graduated there a couple years ago.
Okay, and how was your college experience? I know,
Oh, it
like,
was beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
was
Much, much better than high school. Like I said, I no longer had that struggle. Actually, I forgot to kind of, I guess, reveal the results. So like I said, the reason why I came to the conclusion that it was a spiritual warfare because when I prayed, that kind of got better.
okay.
And so that's why I said my university days were much, much better. So my I think up until like my third year, I completed all 3 years with a 4.0. And then it kind of dropped later on because I had more like responsibilities. I was working part-time and then I was also kind of investing on ETO Counselor, the scholarship consultancy that I run. So I was kind of spread thin. So because of that, my grades kind of dropped. But I was still I mean I was still satisfied. I guess it was a great performance. And the difference I saw was like uh, when I had my exams, I no longer had those
Mm-hmm.
anxiety attacks.
Yeah.
I just had a peaceful um, session, and I would be able to like answer what I know, and if I don't know, I wouldn't have those like rush of ideas, especially bad ideas, or I guess anxiety attack.
So that was
So
in
it was a better
Tanzania, right?
experience.
The
Hmm?
You said you got 4.03 for 3 years in Tanzania,
Yes.
right?
No. And in my university is what I refer to, but also if we're talking about my high school, yeah, I got better when I got to 10th grade. I didn't get 4.0, but I think I got somewhere like 3.5, 6, 7, somewhere there. The reason why I said that is because when you get over 3.5 each semester, you would get like an honor roll. So I got a principal's honor roll.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
from
amazing.
10 to 12. And in 11th grade, I was able to get 4.0.
That's amazing. That's really
Yeah, so
amazing.
that's
So it
God's
really
work.
helped you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so when you came to the United States, you said you didn't have any Ethiopian community or even the churches around you in Roanoke, Virginia,
Mm.
Holland
Yeah,
University, right?
no. We didn't have any Ethiopic community. Like I just had a couple of friends in college, and some of them were not Ethiopian Orthodox. So it was just like by myself,
Oh,
and it was okay. You know, like I would pray in my dorm, um, but it was so hard to also fast because you don't have alternative, like you don't have injera or like other staples to alternate or to use as an alternative. So it was
mm,
also hard to fast. And I felt like if I carry on that way, I was I just thought that was not gonna serve me well, or that's not gonna serve my spiritual life. I was gonna lose that spiritual life, that spiritual zeal I had at the time. And so I felt the need to transfer then.
okay. But while you were there, how did you deal with it? Because some people, when they go to college, they tend to stray away
Mm.
from the church, and it's very easy because there's no one else supporting them. And how while you were there, how did you deal with it?
Deal with people or peer pressure is what
Yeah,
you're referring to.
peer pressure, just trying to, whether if it's fasting or it's praying,
Mhm.
trying to be committed to your spiritual life. How did you do that?
Luckily, I had a really great roommate, even though she was not Ethiopian Orthodox. She was a very much open-minded person, and she was also Christian, so she respected my religion and I respected hers. But we also had like common ground. She likes to talk about God. I love to talk about God, so we just talk about God. Although the perspective might be different when it comes to certain things, right? But she was willing to learn, so I teach her, and we just talk about those things. So that I think really helped me. But apart from that, I remember like they used to have we lived in like a community apartment. It was like a huge apartment, but one of those apartments where you have like 10 people
Yeah.
in total, so very small, right? So people would have other people, like other roommates, who will have parties downstairs. And I remember like they were tempting me to go there and participate. Even my roommate wanted to go then. So like you see, I see her as a positive person and a good person. So I would have been tempted. And I also feel like I was somehow tempted, like just a tiny bit, because it was like she's Christian too, right? It wouldn't bother me. It's fine. We're on the same boat anyway. But then I kind of quickly remembered, the little lectures I received from my parents.
Okay.
And so that helped me stay grounded, but also like, yeah, like even if she chooses to go there, it's her, not me, right? It's my decisions that matter. And I always, have to stay grounded on what I've been taught, on my belief. So I decided to not go there. But they're just instincts, or I mean, there are examples like that, or things that happened that way that I kind of needed to stay grounded, or kind of like shook my belief a little bit. And like I said, the way I dealt with that is I just, do a quick prayer, like about or Psalm Lucky, and kind of hear what God is telling me to do. But I also know what I'm supposed to be doing anyways. So just kind of, I guess, staying grounded. And other days when I transferred to like a different university, similar things occurred.
Okay.
So because it was, a very small house or apartment, it would be very hard for you to also stay what is it called, like I forgot the word, but it's to concentrate, I guess, or stay focused. So in events that occurs, I'll just put my Mezmur on, and I'd put my headphone on and just play Mezmur, and that will help me get past those type of things. But also just listen to Zema. That just changes the game too. So I would deal with those things that way. But in events where people pressure me, the lectures I received from my parents, I would say were foundational, especially when it came to peer pressure. Like the stories they were telling me were real, and it was as if like if you choose otherwise, you're gonna have to face the same thing as those people, and you do not want to make the same mistake, because that would be that would be dumb. Like, don't do that. This happens to other people so that we can learn from them. And
Exactly.
so yeah, that still helped me stay grounded. And another thoughts that I kind of trained my mind is that yeah, my parents are not here watching me. They're not gonna like lecture me. They're not gonna have someone watch after me. So I always like, how you do like self-talk and everything. So I always tell myself like, even though they're not here watching you, God is watching you. Like he's everywhere. And I used to fear disappointing my parents. So I use that like self-talk to help me stay grounded. Like God is gonna watch, he's gonna tell them, he's gonna reveal, right? So that kind of helped me stay grounded.
Yeah, and I remember you posted a video talking about what your father told you, and told you
Yeah.
how happy he is with you and how happy you were
Oh
because of
yeah,
that, because you didn't want to be a disappointment to your parents.
right. I think
Yeah.
yeah, it was that time that kind of made me feel like it paid off, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, and partly when I think about it, I was also somehow selfish, like selfish in the sense like I didn't want myself to fail or to find myself in a position where I regret. So in
Mm.
that sense, I could say I was also a little bit selfish, besides me disappointing my parents. Because when I also kind of take this a little bit further, my parents would be disappointed once or twice, right? They're not going to be with me all the time. So whatever damage that I cause on myself, I'm going to have to face the consequence. So it was just like, I'm selfish enough not to face those repercussions. I'd rather not, right? I think that really helped.
Yeah. I don't know if selfish is the word that I would use though, because it's very true. I don't at the end of
Mhm.
our life we don't want to say I regret this, I regret that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's a big thing. And based on what you just said, I think your parents had a huge impact in your life, even when they weren't living with you, you know, when
Mhm.
you moved on. It's so important what parents put in our heads while we were
Oh,
with them
yeah.
every day.
Oh, yeah. And adding on to this, now that I just think about this, what came to my mind is also I saw that my parents trusted me to a degree. Like those they felt like the lectures helped me stay grounded. So even when I was living with them, I didn't sneak out, or I didn't even have the intention of sneaking out. If I wanted to go somewhere, I would ask them. And even before asking them, if my friends like asked me to go to like a birthday party, I have to do the assessment myself before even the news gets to my parents. You know what I mean? Like, let's say my friend comes up to me and says, "Hey, I have a birthday party." So I ask them, "Where is that? What's happening? Like, what's going on in that birthday party?" Then I like after that assessment is done, and after I believe like I need to go there and it's okay for me, it's safe, my parents wouldn't be disappointed. Then I bring that question to my parents to just have a final say, right? So even before I bring it up to them, I would do the assessment, and I think they somehow noticed that. So when I went off to college, they trusted that I make good decisions, and I would also just hear through their voice, once in a while when we make calls and we talk to each other over the phone. I Their encouragement kind of helped me know like they trust me enough to not go off tracks. I think trusting I mean, the biggest lesson for parents hearing this would be like trusting their kids goes a long way. So I think that definitely also helped.
Yeah, I think that's a big advice because I think a lot of people do have trouble trusting
Mm-hmm.
their kids to do something or to let them go out somewhere. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so because of time, I'm gonna jump in and go to your life right now. Can you tell me how your life looks like right now, what your day to day looks like, what you do, what do you do? So you graduated. What can you remind me? Economics and
Business.
business.
I minored in business. So my degree was in economics, and my professor saw my interest in business, so he allowed me to minor.
Okay, okay. So after graduating, what does your life look like?
Right. So before I graduated, I kind of was confused as to how my life would look like. I had various plans. One of the plans were to get a job here, if possible. If not, I was very much happy going back home because I had a business, I mean, online business that I was operating, and I would have been just working on that if things didn't happen. But then I was not certain. So the other thing about me, well, now it's not true, but back then I don't like dealing with uncertainties. I think everyone doesn't, everyone hates it, I guess, but I strongly hate dealing with uncertainty. And I got a conviction that um, the reason why I hated dealing with uncertainty was because I did not trust God enough. So I got my conviction and became better now. But back then, I would have, I guess I would have like just, I was a little anxious once in a while when I think about my future. And so I remember I had like 3 months left to graduate, and I was like, I wonder what life would look like, which state I would be living in, what I would be doing. And and during that moment, me and my friend went to Portland Kidana Meret.
Mm,
It was Ekati 20, it was Ekati 16. So um it was the feast of Kidana Meret, the annual feast. So we planned to go there. We went there, And that day, I prayed about it. I'm like, why would I be anxious when I actually could tell Kidana Mirat, right? Like, she would handle it. And she's known to hearing me and listening and answering my prayers. So I very much trust her with that. So I just told her. And 3 months after I graduated, and after I graduated, I got married. And then so life started, taking shape then. So I knew my prayers were answered, and this was the life that God wanted me to live, right? So when I got married, then at the time, at the same time, I was also just applying for various positions because now I have a degree, and that didn't work out, unfortunately. I was getting rejections after rejections, and after that, I forgot her name, but someone really helped me to get unpaid internships, and I did that. I forgot the company now, but yeah, so I did extern, sorry. I did an unpaid internship with extern, and that lasted about like a month or so. It was online, and so I did that, but even that didn't help me secure a full-time position because that was kind of my goal for that. But then I kind of prayed about it again. And I'm like, okay, I'm still dealing with uncertainties, I guess. So I'm like, okay, I guess this is just, God's plan anyway. So what else can I do? When I think about other things to do, business was the next step. I mean, I was running EO Hustler, then the scholarship consultancy I run. But then that was online. That was not like a full-time thing. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't thinking of making it a full-time. It could have been. It had a potential. But I sometimes like you get tired of running a business. And you just want something very much secured. Because when you're running a business, a lot of things are not secured. You don't know how much you're gonna earn each month. Yeah. You don't know what goes wrong, what goes right, and you deal with a lot of people at the time. Even when I was in college, I hired about like, including salespeople, 30 people. So that it was so hard as a 22nd year old, I mean, 20, 21, 22, 23 years old to handle that much people, right? Especially with school and even after school, it was still hard. So I was like, I needed a break. And the break I wanted to take was just getting a full-time job. So that didn't work out. And I was like, okay, it's fine. I'm not going to be mad about it. So I switched to handling my business full-time, but also taking my social media a little bit more seriously because I would get these DMs where people say like how much I helped them and everything. And I'm like, okay, I mean, my intention is to help, but I didn't think I would have that much impact. Still, to this day, I don't take myself that seriously. I mean, it's also because I like, how do I say it? Like, I don't want to feel like I'm doing this, you know what I mean? Like the opposite of being humble. I forgot the word for it, but I don't want to boast or something. So I always just reject those type of feelings. And because it's very much true that God is the one working. I 100% agree with that. So I always was with that and still am with that thought, with that mindset. But receiving those DMs helped me realize, okay, I feel like this is what God might be wanting me to do. Okay. Because if hundreds of people are telling me the same thing, maybe the full-time job didn't work because he wants me to serve him this way. And if you take a look at my content, my intention is pure. It's just always to help, always to share my knowledge, always to share my resources to our people and help them either change their lives, change their mindset, whatever needs to be changed, right? Just to, honestly, I started with actually not even changing life. It was just to provide fresh perspective and for people to say, oh, okay, I mean, there's this way too, but then, like I said, God did his work and people used to let me know. So I was like, okay, maybe it's time to just, take this full time. So I did.
Was of course, that when I work or after you graduated? Like
after I graduated.
After you graduated. Okay.
Because when I was in college, the social media was not serious, even though I had like a decent amount of following. I was not that serious. I post when I feel like it. I don't post when I don't feel like it. So it didn't have strategies and all that. So after I graduated, then that's when I started to take seriously. And also I was learning about social media at the same time, because like I said, I didn't take it seriously. I didn't have concrete knowledge. So learn about what social media is, when to post, what a niche is, how to handle your audience and all that, how to get feedback, and how to use that feedback to build something else. And so again, still, I think my content is kind of all over the place. You can't really put like a finger to it. Like there's one video you'd see one video about spiritual life, another is about productivity, another is about something else. So I guess I kind of left it that way because I wanted people to see my intention. My intention is to help as much as I can. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to go on the spiritual life I don't want to go all in it, because I didn't feel like I'm equipped. But whenever I have ideas, fresh perspective, I just share it because I see it as serving the Lord, right? Indirectly. So yeah, I took it full time, and then through that, I was able to publish 2 journals on productivity, like it was something, it was kind of, it's a journal. So what a journal means for people who may not know, it's just something to help you stay grounded, something to help you on track, and something to help you assess yourself. So it builds your self-awareness. And also, most importantly, it helps you manage your time effectively. So I think I have one over here. Maybe I can show as an example. I'm not sure if they would be able to see it perfectly fine, but this is what it. Remove the blurry.
No, I can see it. I can see it.
Okay, yeah. So this is what it looks like. So this is the second version. The first version was not at its best, but again, we learn from our mistakes. But people saw the value, and that's what they focused on. It's just me saying it. So yeah, so I published that for the very first time. People loved it, especially people back home. They really very much appreciated it. And yeah, so that was one of the results. Though it was like a tangible result that I saw. Mm-hmm. And after that, I think that was published in September of, was it 2024? Yeah, no, 2025. Sorry, 2025. And then 2025 of no, sorry, I'm mixing this up. So 2024 of September, the very first Productive Habesha journal was released. And then 2025 of January, I later on released a Sulazadot. So that's so this is also a journal, but a spiritual journal that helps us prepare for Kadase. This is by far my favorite project, my favorite product even, because it, like I said, it solved a problem. Both of them solved a problem, but like I said, I don't know why I lean more into the spiritual thing. So it also very much helped me, and I created this to solve my problem first, because every time I go to Kadase and the Kadase ends, and I ask myself, like I said, I'm a very curious person. I always also love to do self-assessment. So I always ask myself, like, what have I learned? Like, what have I learned in a sense, like, what word have I taken from this Kadase, like, so that I could, memorize it and also use it in a time of anxiousness, in a time of stress and whatnot. And then I wouldn't get any. And then I later on asked myself, okay, so what have I learned from the spiritual teaching that the preacher taught? Do I remember the gospel that was read during Kadase? Do I remember the 3 other not teachings, but like Minbabas, Amaranya? Do I even remember the Misbah? Because I didn't even sing it along with the other Mimenan. It was only a few Mimenan that were even able to say it. So I'm like, okay, this is a problem, and I need to fix that. I need to know my Misbah. I need to know my gospel and everything. So I'm like, okay, I need to prepare ahead of time. Yeah. And even as someone who takes Holy Communion, I need to be very much prepared, right?
Yeah.
Like internally, like am I repent and everything, but is my mind cleansed? Is it pure? Do I have those lingering thoughts and I still attend Qadasi with that? It's okay. Like I mean, I'm not saying we should all be, pure and perfect, but when I'm only speaking about myself. So, right. I want to be in front of God with purity, right? And that starts from my heart and my mind. And so I just started to like scribble and oh, actually, yeah, before that, I also had another question like, okay, how do I know? How did the priest know what the gospel of the day is? So I started to wonder, and it was funny with me. I mean, I didn't know. If I felt like it was funny because I asked myself, well, why? How come I didn't know this? Like, I thought that knowledge, like the miswak, the gospel, and everything, was only exclusive to the priest and the deacons. I thought that was not available to other Miminon like myself. So this is when I asked my husband, frankly, and I said, "Hey, how come you guys know this and we don't?" And it's like, I mean, who said you guys shouldn't know it? It's you can know it. It's not exclusive to us only. I'm like, okay, so how do we know? And he said, Masafa Gasawi. You can find everything you want on Masafa Gasawi related to Gaddafi, especially like the Misbah and the gospel and everything. And I'm like, okay, what is that? I didn't know. And he's like, he had one, he had a copy, so he gave me one. And I was just amazed. I'm like, how come I didn't find you earlier? But I was also glad I found it. I found it then. So I opened and I saw it, and it was all in Giz, and I didn't know how to navigate. So you kind of need a guidance, I think. And so I asked them to teach me how to find all those. I mean, the specific misbah. There's misbah all over the place, so you don't know which one they're going to be using for a specific day, right? So he taught me, and I was just amazed. I was just amazed then. I'm like, oh my God, this is, the church has, it's so true that the church has so many resources, yet we don't know how to use it. Or we have not even, touched a bit of it. So at the same time, I was disappointed at myself for not really just, being so much interested in the church's resources and using it to our best for our salvation. And so, yeah, I learned how to use the what is it called? The Masafa Gasawi. And then I started scribbling. Like, okay, so imagine, I think on that day it was on a Saturday, and after that was going to be Sunday, right? So on the night of Saturday, I was kind of scribbling and just asking, okay, so what's going to be the gospel? And I'll just take a look and I'll get the number. So on the Masafa Gasawi, if you notice, they just give you the number, right? They don't give you the whole like writing. So I'll take that. Let's say if it's like, I don't know, First John first, verse first. I mean, what's it called? John first,
Chapter 1,
verse 12 or something. If it's that, I'll just go to that specific. I'll open my Bible and I read the entire thing, and I prepare ahead of time like that way. So that very much that very much helped. Yeah.
I really like that you saw a problem, and it's not just you. Everyone knows this, and but they didn't take it as far as actually getting to know the misbah or how to find it, or ask questions. But you took that opportunity and made it into a learning opportunity. You taught yourself, and for those who don't know, your husband is a priest, right? So you asked him, and he taught you some of the things, and then you didn't just keep it for yourself. You shared it for all of us, right? You turned it into a book that can help us navigate and also get to know the misbah better.
Right. Yeah. Right. So at first it was just for me, but later on when I asked other people, because I thought it was just me, honestly, to be very, very honest with you, I thought it was just me. Other people were aware, they knew what they were doing. So I was like, some of the people I knew, I asked, "Hey, do you know what's the misbook for today? What the misbook was for today in the gospel?" They're like, I'm not really sure, honestly. I'm like, okay. And I asked multiple other people, same thing. So I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, I guess it's just a
definitely.
collective problem. So that's how Tanzania was born. I have not marketed that much. Like I said, I'm not really pushy, or I'm, I, I'm not a salesperson. So because of that, not a lot of people know it,
Hmm.
but only the few that know it. I have heard great results and testimonies. Like, yeah, I take my Gaddafi very seriously, and a lot of people have told me they started to even read the Bible because of this.
Mhm.
Because some people don't know where to start reading the Bible, right? So the
True.
Mitzvah Gazawi actually is a great guideline for that, right? You open on a specific day. It has, I think, mostly for every day, or every day there's Gaddafi. There's that. So you can literally just open one and go to like the specific gospel and or the specific scripture and read it. So I've heard great stories, but there are still a few things that needs to be corrected. As you know, it's the first product, so obviously I was not very much hard on myself.
Yeah.
So, but for the first time, we were able to also just translate it to Tigrinya for
Good.
Eritreans.
Yeah,
Um, yes,
that's
my
amazing.
friend was able to, yeah, my friend was able to do that. And who knows, we'll have an English version too, and we'll have better versions, God willing. But
God.
that's that.
But where can they find it? Th-
They
Both.
can find it on Amazon.
That's
Yes,
on.
both can be found on Amazon. Yes, if they just type productive Habesha,
I should.
they will come up. Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you took I just want to go back a little bit and right off out of college, you were confused. You didn't know what you should do, what should happen. But you kind of just let God work, do his work and then just followed him kind of. And you didn't push yourself, I have to get this job or like I have to do it
Hmm.
this way. You kind of just followed what your inside told you, and you kind of followed your passion, which was
Hmm.
helping people. And I know that you said your organization was started a while ago, or like your company started before you graduated college. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And is it still going? And if so, how is it going? What does it do?
Yeah, it's still going. Usually, like I said back then, because it was kind of hard, I was on and off. We don't really run businesses that way, but it was hard for me, so had to do it that way. But it's still on. It's I we offer two services. One of them is teaching people here and also people back home how to apply to various scholarships. Like people don't know where to get started. Like they have the qualification, but they don't know how to advocate themselves through their application, right? So I teach them that, like from the very first step to the last step. And so from the very start to the finish, I basically just teach them. So I used to have, I think I did like 8 rounds so far. So I had 8 like people in each batch. And so now I think we're at the 8th batch, and I think we've been taking on people for that. So it's still happening. So one of the services is that just teaching them, giving them information, and giving them awareness. And the
Mhm.
second one is it's for people that are ready to apply but don't have the information. Like, let's say they have the qualification. Let's say they're even in grade 11 or 12, and they have the credentials and everything, and they're ready to apply, but they don't know how to apply. And they want the services, like they want their essays reviewed. They want advice, like personal and tailored advice is what I'm referring to. And so even like looking for universities, it's one thing to have the grades, but it's another thing to dedicate your time and find universities that fit you. And so I provide that services, like we provide based on their preference, their goals, and their qualification. We research universities across the world. Like I said, it depends on their preference. If they want in the US, we do that. If they want anywhere else, we do that too. So we research the list of universities and we provide to them with the deadlines, with the links, all the information they need. And it's just that the goal for this is we're not working as like agents, you know, how people do back home.
Yeah.
We're just equipping them to be able to apply and to be able to like advocate themselves in the right way. So those are the services we provide recently.
How many people are helping you? How many people are like working in this?
Mm-hmm. Right now it's just like 3 of us because I kind of cut most of the services out, and we're not doing sales very much. We're just using social media for now. So most of the sales people are also just on a break. But right now it's just 3 of us.
And is this your main job, as in what you focus on day to day? Or do you have something else that you focus on?
Yes, I do have something else. I forgot to mention. I think it's been a month now, I've been providing English lesson online for the diaspora community here, especially for adults, either those that are new or those that have come here and been here for a while. But because of language barrier, they were not able to explore various opportunities in the US. And so for those people, I've been providing online English courses, and it's been a month now.
Okay, and how
there's that?
Is it the 2 of them, right? You're just focused on the 2
The 2 of them and social media.
And
so
media.
just providing,
Which also takes a lot of
providing
time.
content. Oh yeah, that takes a lot of time actually. And also space in your mind, because those things are limited by time. Like you provide the lesson, you're out. Of course, you'd have to do, you know, the preparation first, obviously. But for social media, you kind of, you know, have to stay on top of your work. You have to post on time. You have to follow up. You have to respond to DMs, which I very much not doing well. I'll definitely get to a lot of the messages. There are just tons of messages that I have not opened yet, and it's because of all these responsibilities. But yeah, social media, I have like 4 pages. I have one social media, Productive Habesha, and also EOTCMK, and also Nehemiah. I forgot to talk about that. Nehemiah Orthodox Goods Store. I run an Ethiopian online store. I've not been very much active on that recently, but I've been doing that, and also I think that's another topic after this. But yeah, so I have like 3 active social media accounts. And if you multiply that by like 4, that's 12 accounts managed. So Productive Habesha is on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Telegram, and a little bit on LinkedIn. Not much, but yeah. So 4, if we say very much, I'm very much active on. And each of them has, you know, each of them have a decent amount of following. So you have to give equal attention, if not less. And then there's also EOTCMK. So we have that on Telegram and just Instagram, because it was getting harder to manage on other platforms. So the EOTCMK that I just talked to you about, the consultancy.
Okay, it's the consultancy.
And then the other one is Nehemiah Orthodox Goods Store. Yeah. And we're on Instagram and TikTok. I think that's pretty much it. We have a Telegram, but I'm not really that much active. And Shopify also, and Etsy. Those are not social media accounts, but they also need some sort of management. They require management, the products and reviews and responding to customers and whatnot. And what I wanted to talk just a little bit, if you give me the time, is even on Nehemiah Orthodox store, there are a couple of products that I launched. So if you remember the mouth covering or the MyFed, I don't want to really say MyFed. I don't want to use the word MyFed because it's not really MyFed. It's just mouth covering. It describes that perfectly. But that's also kind of I created that from a problem. It's not really a problem. I would say it's not like what we talked about recently, like with the Tansulas. It's not a huge problem, but it's something that if we can, you know, use it, it's a convenient, I guess. It's a much more convenient product. So it has a before prayer, like before taking the whole communion, and then after taking the whole communion prayer, side by side. And then at the back, you can use the back. It's all white, has nothing written on it, and you can use that to cover your mouth. And that's because, so whenever I take the Holy Communion, some of my netalas are not very much equipped. And so when I do this, they kind of fall off, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, they do.
And it's kind of, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's not a huge struggle, like I said, it's not like a huge problem that we need to really give very much focus on. But
But it
whenever
is
I do that, it's kind of distracting. Like
very.
people beside, I don't want to be the center of attention. So every time I do this, it kind of forces me to be the center of attention. Because other people even can like give you, the side eye. So because I hated that, it's like, well, why not created this? But it's not my original idea. I was gifted the same thing from a Coptic Orthodox. It was an English one, and it had just a before prayer in English, and then the same thing in Arabic. So I was like, okay, why not? Why not kind of take inspiration from that? So I give them the credit for that, and just have Amharic and also English.
So it has
So we'd have the English
prayer.
version. Yes, it has a prayer. So in the front, you'd have the prayer, both in English and Amharic. So two different versions, right? The Amharic is one, the English is one. It is a different one. So you have the before prayer. So before you take the Holy Communion, there's a prayer until your turn comes. You can do the prayer quickly. And after you take it, after the priest is done and everything, you can also just recite that. And
Wow,
you can also use the back of it as a covering. So like you have like this or this if you want.
that's
So that's
amazing.
also another one. Mhm.
Like I love how you find like problems and they're kind of everywhere, but a lot of people
Mm.
just dismiss it. Okay, I'll just do this to avoid that
Mm.
kind of thing. But like you turn the problem into an actual a solution. You found a solution to the problem, and it's not just this one. It's like so many things that we just have been talking about now for the past few minutes. And I love how you're solution oriented and you find solutions
Mm.
and you don't keep it to yourself, but you share. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's just how God made me. And yeah.
Yeah, and okay, so now we know that what you focus on. I just have two things that I just want to ask. If you didn't have the social media, do you think your businesses would be as active as it would be right now, or do you credit your social media for all the success in your business?
Oh yeah, 100%. I would very much give the credit to social media. When I say social media, I'm implying my audience, right? My audience, I don't even know what to say about them. All I say is God bless. Honestly, whatever I put my face to, they always trust, they always trust that I bring something good out to them. And even if there is something to be improved, they're just they let me know kindly. And so this is why I'm saying, even if the full-time position didn't work, and it didn't work, not because of, like I said, not because of spiritual warfare or anything. I let God know that this is your plan, and I trust it, so I followed this path. And so that's why I feel like it's God, it's God's plan, because I'm truly, truly blessed. Even with me not replying fast, there's still very much patience. Um, and I honestly, I don't even know what to say about them. So yeah, I 100% credit it to them. Whatever I put my face to it, it sells. And it's only because God is able to work through that, and that he purposefully provided those type of customers or who were once my audience to benefit, but also benefit me um, as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay, and lastly, I just want to conclude it with an advice, but focusing on, I know that you do so many different things, and beyond what you just mentioned, I think you even previously you tried to do multiple different things and see what works out, what doesn't, what sticks, what
Mm-hmm.
doesn't stick, and just navigating through all that, still keeping your spiritual life, being productive. And earlier, I know you mentioned that your social media is all over the place. But I think it's actually a lot of different things, but in under one thing, and that one thing is
Mm-hmm.
like in everyone's life. So I really love all the contents that you post, even if it's different things, they all apply to our lives. So I love that. But tell us a little bit of advice on how you're able to manage all the different things that you do. Still, there might be days that you don't feel like doing anything. I think even if we are productive, a lot of us are still faced with that challenge, but how we face that challenge, how we find solution to that challenge is what determines which trajectory we go to. So, how do you deal with the days that you are not motivated and just don't want to do anything or don't want to do the task that is in front of you? What do you do?
Honestly, I just rest because I know that when I have those days, it's because I overworked myself. Or even if I didn't work physically, my mind is restless. So I force myself, one, to not think about work, and just to think about something else. Like I don't know if we're supposed to be doing that, but I just like to think about how the world is created, and just think about, Jesus and how he's a man and fully divine. And just, I force myself to think about these spiritual things. It's not because it's a spiritual media that I'm saying this, but it's just something that I do and helps me to stay calm. Then I do like other things like walking, swimming, rarely swimming. I love swimming, but sometimes I don't feel like it. But yeah, I just do like activities like those physical activities. I also give my time, or I mean, we don't say give, but like have time with my husband, um, and connect with, old friends, other people, and kind of just, go away, far away from what is it called? Work. And also social media. Like I go on to YouTube and listen to spiritual content or like funny content, entertainment contents. So that's how I kind of deal with my time. But also, there isn't one thing, but like if I talk about what I do on a daily basis, it's this, and also just cooking, baking, and trying new recipes. Not like doing regular cooking, but like trying new recipes. Um, and sometimes I myself to do like DIYs or like watch a DIY video to kind of get myself creative. I used to do drawings and paintings, but I'm not that good, so I don't do that more often.
What is
I think
DIY?
it's those and just DIY, like I don't know how to explain it, but like how to create something with little things you have, like little materials you have. Say, for
Okay.
example, how do I say, like there isn't something I can use as an example. Oh, maybe a candle. Like I see a candle, right? So what people would do is they get like not the candle jar, but like whatever jar they have, and then they would melt wax and make
Mhm.
candle just like that.
Okay.
But it could apply to anything else really. So it's just to get you to be more creative. DIYs are mostly creative work. So you get the materials from the Dollar Tree and do whatever DIYs you want to create. So yeah, and then just decorating my house. I'm very much into interior design. I'm not sure why I'm still not interior designer, but I'm still not like good at it, but like it makes me feel good, and just moving around is also very much helpful. So I enjoy that. Just writing, also like free writing, not necessarily like diaries or journals, but just whatever is in my head. I like to just blurt it out. So I just write it down, whatever I feel. And reading the Bible, I mean, it's kind of no-brainer. Oregano, or I think I talked about this in one of my videos. Whenever like I do prayer, especially like the Psalms or Oregano, or even the Bible, or any type of prayer really, if the words kind of sink in my heart, once I'm done with my prayer, I kind of like take notes as if I'm studying the prayer, and kind of like little scriptures, little notes. And so when I am in that when I just don't want to when I don't feel like I want to do anything, or when I'm not doing work or resting, that's my type of rest. And so I reread that, and also just listen to Zema, and I'm learning a lot of Zemas currently. So reciting those is also very much helpful. It kind of gives you the spiritual enrichment. I can, you can feel the spirit in you when you recite Wudasse Mariam Bazima or other things in Mispako and Gatase and all that.
That is so true, and I think there's a lot of things that are really good and useful to do even on your
I'm
spare.
just blurting out.
No, I love
Sorry.
that. I love that.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Mhm.
And I'm sure everything that we talked about, getting to know you is gonna be enjoyable for our audiences and something that they can learn from. So I really appreciate it. Thank you, Brukti.
Well, thank you for your taking your time as well. I very much enjoy the episodes we've done so far and also this
Yeah.
session. I mostly don't like talking about myself. So this kind of, it didn't make me feel like I was the center of attention. If I'm sorry if it was, I very much apologize. Yeah, I don't want to present myself as any better or an expert. It didn't make me feel that way. I don't like interviews that kind of force me to just talk about myself, but this is one of them. So thank you so much for making me feel that way, and love connecting with you again in the future.
Yes, yes, and thank you. I enjoyed it a lot. And like you said, I came to Houston, Texas, a few weeks ago, right? And we had a lot of discussions, and we recorded those discussions, and it's going to be turned into episodes, and we're going to be posting them after posting this video, so everyone can watch those different episodes. They are dedicated to different topics that apply to so many of us, specifically, especially the youth. And you guys can stay tuned for those coming videos, for those coming episodes where we're going to learn from Biruktawit specifically. So I'm sure you guys are going to learn a lot from those as well. But for this specific interview discussion that we had, getting to know you, I really enjoyed it. I'm sure you guys did as well. And if you want to get the things that we said earlier, like the 2 books, the different things that she has online, you know where to go, and we're going to put it in the description as well. Stay with us for the coming videos, for the coming episodes, until we see each other in another program. May God be with us all. Amen.